got me started there. Shortly after that, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and stress can be a big trigger for symptoms of multiple sclerosis. So that further motivated me to continue and maintain some good stress management practices. About a year and a half after that, which was about a year and a half ago now, I gave birth to my first child, my daughter, and in preparation for that, I joined a 12-week mindful birthing class where we talked about using mindfulness methods to manage the stress and pain of labor and childbirth. Which ended up being somewhat useful, not fully useful. For those of you who've been through the experience, there's only so much mindfulness can do in that extreme time of stress on your body. So just a little bit of background on sort of my experience with mindfulness and where this workshop is coming from. So again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm just someone who enjoys some mindfulness meditation, enjoys some self-care, and working on stress management. So if you can go to the next slide, Max. Thanks. So the first thing I want us all to do is just reflect on your own self-care. Take a minute to think about answers to these two questions. What kinds of stress management or self-care methods do you regularly use? And then what kinds of stress management or self-care methods would you like to start using or use more regularly? So I'm going to give you a minute to just think and reflect. Feel free to write things down if you have a writing utensil. And then if anyone's comfortable, I'll ask you to share out what you're thinking. I see some people are writing in the chat, so feel free to share your thoughts in the chat. Also, if you'd like to, feel free to unmute yourself and share something verbally if you'd like to. Got Max talking about the Calm app, which is free through Kaiser. Breaks from work, walking, hiking, listening to music, making music, physical activities.
I'd rather share with my voice because I'm really tired. I don't feel like typing. I've done a couple. I went through a divorce about 10 years ago. And so it was opposite for me. I was really stressed, didn't want to be at home, tried to keep my mind busy, and I exercised a ton of cardio. And then I wouldn't be thinking about all those things. But then about 5 years ago, I had an injury to my knee and I was going through just a lot of pain in my body. And I actually did mindful meditation and I was super busy. And mindful meditation really helped because I realized I was rushing to do things all the time. And I would get in the car and not even adjust my mirrors, put on my seatbelt. I realized I was pulling off without even doing those things. And so in mindful meditation, we just learned that wherever you are, just kind of sit there, feel the things around you, plant your feet on the ground and breathe. And just a few seconds will help you just get back to yourself and be centered again. And so, yeah, do a few things too.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Rita. Anyone else want to share either what they already do or what they'd like to do more of? Got some stuff in the chat, taking naps, lying down, listening to music. Some people saying they do some light stretches, physical activity. Some saying they'd like to exercise more, do some artwork. I love the artwork one because I always I teach science and I've been trained in how to be a scientist, and somewhere along the way I got this idea in my brain that art didn't feel productive, and I've been unlearning that slowly over time, that art is like, has a role. It doesn't have to be like productive in the way that I see productivity. So I love that. I think that just drawing and painting for your own purposes is so awesome. Music, basketball, yeah. So these are all awesome. And I wanted you all to start sort of just thinking about where you're at and where you want to be, so you can think about what you might be able to get out of this workshop. I hope you can get something useful out of it. So Max, you can push next on the slide deck. So mindfulness meditation, Rita talked a little bit about this already. There is really robust research showing benefits from mindfulness meditation against depression, against chronic pain, against anxiety, with effects similar to other existing treatments. So like similar to actual medications, to like science and chemistry. So there's something real here with mindfulness meditation. It's not just this sort of like hippy dippy type of thing that some people might think it is, that it's a physical action that you do and your whole body is connected. So doing things that are good for your mind are actually good for your body. And this was something else that got me really interested in it, because I have a friend who is an audiologist. And when I was diagnosed with MS, she was saying, oh, in my audiology classes, we all like did a meditation and then we measured our body temperatures. And it was like everyone in the class saw that their body temperature dropped measurably after doing meditation. So it has physical effects, and there's some really solid research supporting these types of benefits. So if you can click next, Max, thanks. So to talk a little bit more about mindfulness, there are these foundational attitudes of mindfulness. And to sort of clarify my understanding of mindfulness and meditation and what mindfulness meditation is mindfulness can be applied during meditation. It can be applied during everyday life while you're not meditating. And you can meditate with mindfulness. And I think you can meditate without mindfulness. So there's sort of a Venn diagram where mindfulness and meditation overlap, but they can also be sort of separate from each other. So I want to go through these foundational attitudes because they're really valuable. And after we talk about this, we're going to do a meditation. I'm going to lead a little guided meditation for you all. And I want you to maybe pick just one or two of these to keep in mind as we do that meditation. You don't have to keep all of them in mind. But this first foundational attitude is that of beginner's mind. And beginner's mind is all about letting go of expectations, of anticipation, and starting each meditation, each day, each thing you do with the attitude, that you truly don't know what's going to happen. Just being as open as possible, saying, I actually don't know what this day is going to bring. I don't know what this activity or this event is going to bring. The next one here is acknowledging. So with this foundational attitude is often described as acknowledging and or accepting. I think accepting can be hard, so it's good to start with acknowledging. But acknowledging, I like to think of this as just observing things as they occur, whether they're in your mind, whether they're externally. This is just acknowledging the things that are happening, hopefully accepting them, though accepting can be a lot more challenging. Letting be is about not trying to change things as you observe and acknowledge them. Even if they're negative, sometimes if you're engaging in a meditation, you might notice like you have a pain on your body, maybe like your shoulder is sore, or maybe you're having some negative emotion that you don't like. And with this foundational attitude, this is all about allowing that to exist and not trying to change it, not resisting it, not engaging with it, just saying, this is a feeling I'm having right now, and just letting it be there. That was a big thing in the mindful birthing class that I took. They were talking about like trying to let be through a contraction, which is very painful, and just not resisting the pain, not engaging with the pain, just allowing it to be. This next one is non-judging. This one is really, it can be really difficult. So this comes about, this is probably my favorite foundational attitude because it's difficult. It's about not judging how you're feeling in a given moment, not judging what you're thinking. Often when we're meditating, right, you kind of want to not think. You want to keep those thoughts out and just focus on your breath or focus on your mindfulness. But thoughts are inevitably going to come and go. We all have active minds. And so part of this non-judging is just being okay with that. Yeah, some thoughts came and went while I was meditating, and I don't have to place a value on that. I don't have to judge myself for saying, oh, I did a bad job meditating today. There's no such thing as a bad job meditating because we don't judge our meditations. There's a good practitioner who talked about if you notice your mind wandering 50 times during a meditation and you have to 50 times bring your attention back to your breath, you've had 50 moments of mindfulness. And that's really good. It's good to practice those moments of mindfulness. Our next foundation is non-striving. And this is also a really nice one because we spend so much of our time as students or as professionals in our jobs trying to achieve something. And non-striving is all about not trying to achieve anything. What an idea. So in mindfulness, we're really not trying to get to a certain place or achieve anything in our meditation. We're just being here and acknowledging, and not judging and not striving. And in that process, we have to practice patience, right? Maybe we want to get to a certain place with our meditation journey or our mindfulness journey, and it takes time, and we don't always have like magical moments where we discover the secret to inner peace or something, and we have to practice patience with ourselves and with people around us. There's some good meditations about compassion, having compassion and patience for ourselves and for everyone. Along those same lines, this idea of trust is sort of trusting yourself, trusting in the process that you're going through in a journey of mindfulness or in any of your self-care. And lastly, being kind to yourself, being kind to others, not having high expectations that we're judging each other. So you can sort of see how these all tie into to each other and form these foundational attitudes of mindfulness. Any thoughts or questions before we try a meditation? Feel free to type in the chat or unmute yourself. All right, so with that, we're going to meditate for like 5 minutes. I'm going to guide you. So what I want you to do is make sure that you are sitting comfortably. Yeah, Max, you can leave it on this slide. I think the next slide is for after our meditation. Make sure you're sitting comfortably. Start with your eyes open. And I just want you to take 3 deep breaths. I want you to feel your lungs expand as you breathe in. Feel your body soften as you breathe out. And on your next out breath, I want you to gently close your eyes. I want you to notice the weight of your body, contact of your feet on the floor, or with the chair underneath you, or couch, wherever you're sitting or lying. Notice any sounds around you. Sounds might be close by, might be far away. Notice how your body feels. Is there a general sense of stillness or restlessness? You might notice points of pain or tightness in your muscles. Again, you're not trying to change anything, just noticing, acknowledging, letting be. Notice how your breath feels. Is there a rising and falling sensation in your body with your breath? Notice that every breath is different. And as you're noticing your breath, your mind will inevitably wander. Thoughts will come and go, and that's fine. A thought comes, acknowledge it, let it go, and bring your attention back to your breath. Now you can let go of any focus on the breath. Let your mind do whatever it wants. If it wants to think, it can think. Now bring your attention back to your body, back to the feeling of contact with the chair or couch, whatever is underneath you. Notice the sounds around you. Notice any smells. And then when you're ready, just gently open your eyes. And just take a moment to notice how you feel. Take a minute to reflect on that. How do you feel physically? How do you feel emotionally? You can write it down if you want. If you want to type into the chat a thought or a response to this experience or unmute yourself, I welcome some sharing. Some people saying relaxed, calm, Lighter. I like this idea of lighter, sleepy. Fluid-like. Yeah, so this was about a 5-minute meditation. This is something you can do anytime, anywhere. Maybe not while you're driving. Probably don't want to close your eyes when you're driving. But besides that, anytime, anywhere. And I'll show you at the end, there's all sorts of sources of guided meditations. Max mentioned the Calm app. If you have Kaiser for your healthcare, you have free access to the Calm app. There's some other resources I'll show you at the end of this presentation. So, and you also can do it without guidance. If you kind of know the general process, you sort of start, close your eyes, focus on the senses around you, focus on your body for a time, focus on your breath, come back to the senses around you. That's kind of the general process or path of a meditation. So I hope that was helpful for everyone, just to have some time to focus on your breath. Max, if you could push next. This next thing we're going to talk about is gratitude. So practicing gratitude, which is just appreciating things around you, being thankful for things around you. It's as simple as that. There's some good research showing that practicing gratitude leads to more happiness, more optimism, more positive emotions, improved health in general, better management of adversity and challenges, stronger relationships, and higher motivation in employees. There was an interesting study I found about managers expressing gratitude to their employees made their employees more motivated to do a good job. Sounds pretty reasonable, right? But these are often things, while they sound obvious when we think about them, it's easy to forget in our really busy lives. Gratitude is something I really enjoy it. I have a little gratitude journal at home. I don't write in it every day. When I was home with my daughter on maternity leave, I got into good habits of writing in it most days because it was like really, it was very hard for me to be home every day, taking care of a baby. So like practicing some gratitude and just writing like 3 things I was thankful for helped me refocus away from the small struggles and focus on the bigger picture and the things I was thankful for. So we're going to practice some gratitude. I want everyone to take a piece of paper and a writing utensil. If you have one in front of you, you could also open up like a notes app on your phone or a word processor on your computer, whatever you have. And I just want you to write down 3 things that you're thankful for. And I want you to focus on things that you feel thankful for rather than things you think you should be thankful for, right? Maybe you're like, well, I should appreciate this, but just allow your emotions to guide you. What are things that you think of when you feel thankful for something? So take a minute, write down 3 things. All right, does anyone want to share maybe the things they wrote down? Or
I could
just their,
share.
yeah.
So my first thoughts is always gratitude for my family. And it could be like family, friends, everybody's different. And then my second one is nature, because I love just being out in nature, looking at all the pretty colors and feeling the different seasons on my skin and going on hikes and stuff. And then my third one was opportunity. So just like the opportunity to be able to go to school, like I'm so grateful for, because I'm like 43 years old already. So family, nature, and opportunity.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Rita.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else want to share? You can also type into the chat or unmute yourself. Children, job, and housing. Yeah, thank you, Amber. You also could have small, these are good big picture things. I love being thankful for big picture things. It kind of helps you step out of the small details and struggles. But it's also okay if the things you're thankful for are small. It could be like, I'm thankful for my coffee this morning, or like, I'm thankful for this really awesome purple pen that I just got. Like, it can totally be small or large, whatever works for you. Music, comfortable bed, and boba drinks. Yes, I love boba. So good. Anyone else want to share, or anyone have any just thoughts or reactions to anything we've talked about so far? Oh, Genevieve is saying she has an app called Presently to write in what she's grateful for every day. Nice. Yeah, there's apps for gratitude, health, school, life in general. Yeah, I have a friend who likes to have sort of like an accountability partnership sometimes about writing in a gratitude journal or doing a meditation, like engaging in these things of self-care. She'll like text her sister when she writes in her gratitude journal, or she'll text her friend when she does her meditation. So it kind of helps you feel accountable, and it helps you feel like connected to a community. Like, we're all doing this. Sometimes it's easy when we're struggling to feel alone and disconnected and isolated. And when you sort of share these practices with your friends or your family, it takes you out of your own head and reminds you that we're all in this together. Everyone's struggling and everyone's working towards the same goals. All right, Max, can you push next on the slide deck? So this is about exercise. I like talking about exercise. I personally love exercising. I know not everyone loves exercising. It's an area in which I have to acknowledge exercise does not come easily to everyone. And I know that getting motivated to exercise can be a huge challenge. But we're just starting with the data we have. There is irrefutable evidence of the effectiveness of regular physical activity in the prevention of all sorts of things: cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, hypertension, depression, osteoporosis, premature death, and probably a lot of other things. These are just the things I found data and research on. And I am trained as a chemist. I do not use the word irrefutable lightly. A lot of things, like there's a lot of data out there that's like, oh, well, this is what the data tells us, but we're not sure. Maybe there's new data. This is like as irrefutable as we can find, that exercise is good for this stuff. And there is a linear relation between physical activity and health status. So there's like a direct correlation between exercise habits and how healthy you are. This picture is the Myrnivator. I don't know if any of you know who she is. I follow her on Instagram, and she's like the most badass, enthusiastic exerciser ever. So she's a good inspiration. If you need some like exercise inspiration, the Myrnivator on Instagram has some great posts, and she like does all her exercise in nature. She's very outdoorsy. This is her like trail running. She goes mountain biking. She does like water activities. Her name is, let's see, I think if you search for the Myrnivator, I'll type it in the chat. I think her name is like Myrna something, and it's meshing that with motivator. So she's like trying to motivate you. So yeah, exercise, like I'm probably not telling you new information, but just in case you didn't know, exercise is one of the best things you can do for your health. So if you can push next on the slide deck, Max. So exercise, so as I said in the previous slide, there's a linear relationship between physical activity and health status. And what that means is that any exercise is better than none. 5 minutes is better than 0 minutes. 10 minutes is probably a little better than 5 minutes. But for me, I know that I often have an expectation for myself. I'm like, I got to do a full workout. If I'm going to like put my sneakers on and get ready, then it's going to be like a big 45 minute workout. And sometimes that can be demotivating. Sometimes like, oh, I don't want to do a whole workout, or like, oh, I don't have 45 minutes. What am I supposed to do? And then I'm like, oh, I'm just not going to exercise at all. But I'm here to tell you that any is better than none. So if you don't have 45 minutes in your schedule or in your energy reserves, do 20 minutes, do 10 minutes. There's some mornings, like I try to work out in the mornings, but if I just don't have the time or the energy, I'll do like 5 minutes of yoga, and it totally makes me feel better for the rest of the morning than if I did nothing. Or I'll walk around the block for 10 minutes. Do exercise that you enjoy. If you don't like going to the gym, if you don't like running, don't run. Nobody says you have to run. If you like doing yoga, do yoga. If you like hiking, a lot of you talking about hiking and walking, do that stuff. If you like playing soccer, go kick the soccer ball around. Any physical movement with effort counts. I'm sure there's like versions of exercise I'm not even thinking of. Dancing, carrying your toddler on your back for a mile, physical movement with effort. I'm from Massachusetts, and I met with a personal trainer there, and he told me that the hottest part of going to the gym is putting your sneakers on. So put your sneakers on. I always tell myself that. I'm like, Corey, just put your sneakers on, and then the rest of the workout will happen. And if you can think of exercise as being preventative medicine, you wouldn't skip out on medication you're supposed to take. So don't skip out on exercise. And exercise can be a huge range of things, huge range of types of activities, difficulty level, amount of time. We live in this technology world. There's like a huge resource on YouTube of exercise videos. You can do 5 minutes, you can do 2 hours, you can find any type of exercise you want with guidance on YouTube, on the internet. So no excuses, do some sort of movement. Any questions or thoughts or reactions so far? Or advice? Are some of you really good exercisers? All right. Max, if you could push next on the slide deck. So fitting these things into our schedule. So mindfulness meditation, gratitude, and exercise. These are the 3 big things that we've talked about today. And we all have busy lives. You're all students. Most of you are probably students. You have a full class schedule, you have jobs, you have families, you have other activities, right? I know that we're all super busy. You're here because you need some self-care because it's hard to fit it into your schedule. So what I want you to do is choose one of these levels. I've given you level 1, level 2, level 3. If you're just starting out and you're like, I'm just going to dabble in some of this stuff, I'm going to choose level 1. So I want you to choose one self-care practice: meditation, gratitude, or exercise. Just pick one. Commit to doing it every day for 5 minutes. You can probably find 5 minutes in your day. You could sleep for 5 fewer minutes to do one of these things. Granted, sleep is part of self-care as well. We didn't talk about that today. But choose one of these and do it for 5 minutes every day. That's level 1. If you're like, I can do a little more than that, you might want to try level 2. Pick 2 things we talked about today: meditation, exercise, gratitude. Commit to doing at least one of them every day for 10 minutes. So maybe Mondays, you're going to exercise for 10 minutes. Tuesdays, you're going to meditate for 10 minutes. Maybe you'll do every other day. You'll switch off. Level 3 is all 3 of the self-care practices. It says choose 3 because I think in a previous iteration of this workshop, I went through more different types of things, but choose all 3: mindfulness, meditation, gratitude, exercise. Set aside 30 minutes every day for these practices. If every day is too much, maybe most days, 30 minutes, 5 days a week. Exercise for 20 minutes, meditate for 5 minutes, take 5 minutes to write in a gratitude journal. You could divvy up your 30 minutes for all 3. You could exercise 30 minutes one day. The next day, do like a longer meditation and some gratitude and maybe just a little bit of exercise. Choose your own adventure, but pick one of these and commit to it and start doing it. Make it part of the things you have to do every single day. Thoughts or questions so far? All right, Max, can you go to the next slide, please? So I want you to make you aware of DVC's mindfulness community. So there's a Wise at Work app that you all as DVC students have access to. It's free. It has all sorts of meditations. They're pretty work focused, but I think they can be applicable for students as well. And there's an October Resilience Challenge happening. The QR code in the top corner is for the Wise at Work app. And the October Resilience Challenge, if you go to the next slide, Max, there's this nice flyer for it. So this is running for the month of October. The goal is just for all of us to be a little mentally healthier. And there's going to be some prizes associated with it. I think they're still working on like gathering and curating the prizes, but in the past, there have been some pretty awesome prizes. I think there was like an iPad for the last March Mental Fitness Challenge they did. There's like some bookstore gift certificates in there. Maybe there might be some DVC swag. So if you want to try to win some prizes while engaging in some mindfulness meditation, you can download the Wise at Work app onto your phone. And I think you can enroll in the challenge through there. And the challenge is just to like do a meditation every day. And I think the more meditations you do, the higher up the winners list you get, and you get closer to winning the prize. So win, win, win for everyone. And then, oh, no, yeah, you can go to the next one. And then lastly, I wanted to make you all aware of some other resources for mindfulness meditation. So UCLA has a whole research center on meditation where they've been like researching the physical effects of meditation. These are very real physical effects, as we talked about. This QR code goes to their free meditations. They have free meditations in many different languages. There's different lengths, there's different sort of themes and topics. So if you kind of want to start somewhere without like downloading an app or paying for something, that's a good place to start. That's where I started doing guided meditations with those UCLA free meditation. As Max mentioned, the Calm app is free to Kaiser members. So that's a meditation app that has lots of guided meditations in it, and unguided meditations. There's also like timers if you just want like a timer to ding after 5 or 10 minutes. They have things like that. I personally like to use the Headspace app. This one does cost money. So it depends if you want to spend money on something like this, but they have all sorts of different meditations and different meditation courses. You can sort of focus on different things. There's like stress management, there's anxiety, there's like anticipation. I'm trying to remember all the ones. There was like a pregnancy one that I tried. I didn't like the pregnancy one, but it was on there. So those are some resources that are available to you as well. Does anyone have any questions? Or comments or thoughts? Feel free to type in the chat or unmute yourself. Well, I hope this was helpful for you all. I hope this was served as a nice break in your day to practice some mindfulness, practice some gratitude, think about how to work some exercise into your routine, and like chill out a little bit. So I'm happy to stick around. There's like 15 more minutes left in our technical time period. So if you want to stick around and ask me questions, I'm happy to stick around. But otherwise, have a good rest of your day, everyone.
I'm going to drop the link in the chat for the survey real quick too.
Oh, yes. Thanks, Max. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Thank
dismiss
you.
them when you still have something for them.
No, yeah, let me grab it real quick so I can drop it in the chat for everyone. There you go.
Let's see. Raheen is asking info about the October Resilience Challenge. Let's see if there's a link for that. There is, let's see, there's the DVC Mindfulness Community, but I think you can find it through there. Yeah, so Max put a link for the survey to get some feedback on this. Here is the link for the DVC Mindfulness Community. And I think from there you can, if you click join the 4CD Mindfulness, oh, never mind, that's not it. Oh, there's information for the Wise at Work app, and then you join the challenge through the Wise at Work app. So if you download the app, you can join the